What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today, spider.
Hello.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Bradley, and I'm an organismal biology and ecology student at the University of Arkansas Little Rock.
My name is Jacob, and I am also a student of biology in organismal biology at the University of Arkansas Little Rock.
A little backstory on us. My interest in biology started at a young age. I love being outside. I love looking for animals, and eventually, as I got older, I took an interest in botany and how important that is to us being here right now. And now, my college path, I want to do something to protect those species, because when you're learning about them, you see just how amazing everything is, and I feel like we should protect that.
My interest in biology also started the same way because we're twins, so we did everything together when we were younger. But I want to focus my education on helping my fellow human beings. I want to go down the medical path.
Yeah, so if you couldn't tell, I'm the more talented one, and he's the smart. I'm the more talented, better looking, funnier. I'm just the better twin.
You're getting carried away, my dude.
Okay, sorry. Getting back on topic.
So, I'm the smarter, more handsome, more talented, better looking, and I have more money.
No, because first of all, you can't do that because I already called dibs on some of them, and on top of that, I invested in Dogecoin.
I also invested in Dogecoin.
Fair enough, touche. Getting back on topic.
We set out to find a relationship between the plant life of Arkansas and the wildlife. So what we did was, our dad, he has 20 acres out in Lone Oak, and we went over there over the course of a couple weeks, and we filmed videos, took pictures, and studied these relationships that we witnessed.
The relationship between plants and animals is a tale as old as time. There are distant relatives. In fact, we share around 60% of our DNA with a banana.
We've also used plants as a source of food, shelter, and every other conceivable facet of our lives since the dawn of our species. And the rest of the animal kingdom does too. From the jungles of South America to right in our own backyard, or our parents' own backyard in this case.
Yeah. We don't have a backyard. The state of Arkansas has a wide variety of plant and animal life. They don't call it the natural state for nothing, right? For this project, we literally went into the backyard to find examples of the relationships between the members of the different kingdoms. The kingdom Plantae, including some fungus, and the wildlife that lives around here.
The role that fungus plays in our wildlife is very significant. Mycorrhizae, I don't know if I pronounced that right. We obviously couldn't find any examples of that because it runs underneath the root systems, and we didn't have a shovel. They help transport nutrients in a vast network of fungus attached to the roots of the trees. But what we did find was a mutualistic relationship between arthropods and fungi. The fungi receive nutrients, and the insects receive protection.
The insects are also spreading the spores around.
The specimens we observed are the false turkey tail, the white jelly fungus, the crowded parchment, and a very interesting, colorful coral pink marillus. The tree also contained a number of powder ruffle lichens, which if you look on the trees, you see like a little, it looks like paper falling off. If you get up close, that's actually a fungus.
Insects don't just receive benefits from the fungus. They rely on almost every plant for survival. Take the eastern tent caterpillar moth. In their larval stage, they'll make huge colonies surrounded by a web. They'll usually make these tents high in the trees to provide protection from ground predators.
And if you want an example of this, do you remember if you go around, you see like these big web-like structures, and if you go up to it, you see like a bunch of little caterpillars. Yeah. That's what it is. They're little caterpillars, and they turn into moths, and they live high up in the trees to provide protection from ground predators, but doesn't really help with birds or squirrels or anything like that. Yeah. There's also a mutualistic relationship between many flower-bearing plants and the common honeybee and the carpenter bee. Whenever we were observing, we noticed that these honeybees were hovering around a common clover, the crimson clover, the little red, looks like little
Pine cone.
yeah,
looking thing.
like little pine cone looking things on the tip of it. And if you were really quiet, you could hear the
Oh, it was a swarm in there.
Yeah,
You could hear it. That was pretty spectacular to witness.
yeah. I'm not sure if any of the video that we caught had any of that.
We'll see in
But-
editing.
And I also witnessed carpenter bees feeding on the flowers of a series of brambles, which I believe to be a sawtooth blackberry, but I couldn't really get a solid identification on it. But I believe it was a sawtooth blackberry plant.
Not only do plants support animals when they're alive, but they also support them when they're dead and decaying. If you look closely and listen quietly, you may be able to see a critter like the marbled salamander hiding under a decaying log.
And our dad is also an avid gardener. You know, every time we come over, he's like, "You want to plant some plants for us?"
Yeah. Come on, drive the truck. Come help me.
We planted pear trees for him, apple trees,
Peach trees.
yeah, peach trees.
We planted corn. We planted cucumbers, watermelons. That failed terribly.
Yeah, very terribly. Squash, which also failed
Yeah.
terribly. But some of these plants were blueberry bushes and just like elderberry bushes and stuff like that. And while these are intended for our human consumption,
Mm-hmm.
they also have a lot of wildlife that comes up and eats them. Which she's always like, "Oh, there's always deer coming up and eating these."
But that just goes to show how important botany is to wildlife, especially in our area.
And another thing about our dad, he likes, and a small little relationship between humans and these plants. Our dad, he's really fond of elderberries, and he's planted elderberry bushes that he picks the berries off and makes a jam out of, which is very delicious.
Very scrumptious.
While plants are beneficial, we also have
Very harmful.
very harmful plants like poison ivy, oak, sumac, and I'm not sure if you got pictures of it, but whenever we were identifying trees, Bradley found what he believed to be hemlock.
Yeah, water hemlock, which is the most poisonous plant in North America, right in our backyard.
Which, that's very terrifying because our dogs go out there.
We go
out there. So
hold on, let me just add. If it had it not been for the botany class, I wouldn't have known what it was.
mhm.
You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either. So while plants are very beneficial for humans, they can also be very harmful because if you look at hemlock, Socrates was put to death and forced to drink hemlock.
As scary as that may be, that just goes to show how amazing the adaptations that these plants have made are that prevent them from getting eaten and stuff like that, so they can continue to propagate.
Now, there is also a relationship between plants and fungus, because plants, whenever they die, if it weren't for fungus and other decomposers, they would just kind of pile up. The evolution of these fungi really helped to
Advance us as a species.
advance us as a species.
Thanks for watching, guys. We hope this was as informative for you, the viewer, as it was for us getting out in the field, making observations for ourselves. We learned a ton. We learned the importance of fungus. We learned the importance of different plants and how to identify them. We also learned their importance that they have on our ecosystem, which ultimately affects us. Forced us out in the heat.
Yeah. Because it forced us to go out and actually
Hunt. Actually,
play with our environment and,
Yes.
and study it and familiarize ourselves with it, which
Mhm.
as biology majors, that's something that we're going to be doing
yes.
for the rest of our careers.
Yes, and also being able to, from what we learned about identifying habitats to actually getting out there and putting that to practice, that was very useful for us.
I didn't like walking in the mud though.
No, I didn't. Dude, I was over it after like 10 minutes.
My shoes are so
Yeah,
wet.
eventually I got to the point I just didn't care. I was like, whatever.